Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ace Santiago. I do psychological analysis and gut health stuff. So, we're going to talk about Mr. Beast today. Mr. Beast is a gentleman who is obviously quite popular, especially on YouTube. He's got over 400 million subscribers. And so, I wanted to go over today why I believe he is the way he is, or why or how he's gotten where he is now. And I'm going to do this through the lens of my developmental archetypes and life path numbers, and maybe a little bit of astrology, but I find the life path numbers to be very concrete in a lot of ways, and in the way that I at least I feel I define them. And then as well too, the developmental archetypes are a really great way of looking at how someone's life is going to go psychologically and their motivations and everything like that. So if you're interested, tune in, stick around, and yeah. So to start off, we're going to look into how Mr. Beast is the manifestor archetype. So, if you're not familiar with the manifestor, just as a brief, the manifestors focus more on his mother usually, or he develops within his parasympathetic nervous system where he gets to rest and digest, have fun, camaraderie, all these kinds of things. Tends to be more creative, empathetic, soft, and all that. So, I believe he is that due to his relationship with his mother, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But I also too believe he's this way just by way of looking at his whole life and everything that he's done. But here in this clip ahead, we'll go over some details I'll extract from that clip and then connect that back to the manifestor archetype.
You said that you were secretly testing her the first time you met. What kind of questions did this test entail?
Well, yeah, I mentioned that on a podcast that I had like certain things I was looking for in a girlfriend, and people, clown on me online because they're like, "Oh, he was giving women tests to take." It wasn't like a test, but it's just more. I know what an ideal partner for me would be. I'm not dating today. When I date, it's obviously to marry. Clearly, I already proposed, so it's not me specifically ask her. It's more like just reading her personality and who she is as a person to see if she actually checks those boxes.
How quickly did you know that she checked all the boxes?
Oh, literally within an hour of talking to her, because she told me she was the author. You just kind of tell, even just from her vocabulary and the way she spoke, it was like very educated, and I could talk for hours on TI.
If you go back and look at how he's fidgeting his hands, how he's gesturing his emotions, his facial expressions, all while explaining this very feeling-based thing, because when a man's thinking of a woman, he's oftentimes going to be feeling through that. Manifestors are primarily going to be feeling, and so when he's posed questions about her, he's jumping from one place to the other, almost like he's skipping and not necessarily putting it through like a concrete, absolute fashion of like, well, she needed to be these exact things, right? It sounds like while he went through 38 different dates, which is good for him, it sounds like he may have had a kind of structure in his mind as far as like what he should have done, but it sounds like what he's saying is that he first and foremost was looking for a feeling, and toward the end of the clip, it's almost more certain is that he was looking to feel around for her character and like to get like the right vibe and to really see if she's the right fit in that way specifically, not necessarily that she meets these 100 different criteria. If he may have that for sure, it's definitely possible, at least on the non-conscious level. And Mr. Beast may even be like that. A lot of manifestors can be very unconsciously driven, and they just kind of let things go and let the feelings run everything. So I would gather that he's a manifestor just from this alone, just from his level of expression, his level of vulnerability. Like going on this video alone, doing this interview is vulnerable. I mean, forgers and warrioresses who are higher agency and less vulnerable, they're still want to go on those things, but they're a little bit more like on point with things and boundaried, and they can tend to kind of describe things in a very specific way and only reveal so much. He operates very much more through feeling. One thing too to notice about this clip is the way he's going to be testing his potential girlfriend, and a lot of this really can actually come down to potentially feeling misunderstood or not being fully understood, or things not being laid out for him in some directed path, what the unconscious father is supposed to do. And or what the father's supposed to do for his unconscious, etc. So he can end up in some ways expecting this of his lover, and so he can kind of and almost set up traps and schemes and stuff to make it so they get through all of those barriers, and then it's just like, wow, then he's just, whoa, that's it. Like, it's only gonna take me an hour to be like, yeah, you're it. That's just my thought on it. I only have so much data, but it's possible. Yeah, I'm a manifestor myself. I see a lot of myself in him and all the things that he's doing. I think it's very, very similar. And all the other manifestors I know, it's not just me. Like, not just. I'm a manifestor because I'm also very close to my mom, and I didn't have a father, kind of thing. So there's some similarities there. But yeah, I do believe that he's that way because of that. We'll go on to the next clip here.
That's a great question. Look at you. I don't usually talk about this kind of stuff, but I've been inadvertently honing my mental toughness for a very long time, because I mean, even like 7 years ago when I counted 100,000 on a YouTube video, like that was horrible. That was 40 hours of counting. I didn't want to do it. That was miserable. But I've done so many really, really miserable, hard things. Being buried alive multiple times, 7 days of solitary confinement, 7 days on a deserted island, 7 days here, 7 days there. It's like a muscle. You just kind of train yourself to get used to like not being afraid. When you get that feeling of this sucks, quit, don't do this, this isn't fun, you like build a tolerance of like, it is what it is. I always enjoy when I finish those projects, because I'm like, I did that. I did the thing that no one thought I could do, that I didn't think I could do. And that's kind of the fun part, is it's like 7 days of suffering, but then afterwards you get like a cool story, and you get that satisfaction of like, you push yourself and you hone the muscle of like it's mental toughness,
So you notice right off the bat, he'll go off with a "look at you" kind of motion thing to elevate the lady who's giving him the interview. He is doing this as an automatic cheerleader kind of energy. Manifestors, a lot of them can have this. It's not all of them, but it's primarily the ones who tend to have a significantly nice connection with their mother. And from what I understand, that he does have a pretty strong connection with his mom, and it may be the majority reason why he is a manifestor at all. And so later into this clip, though, which is the meat of it, he goes into all these challenges he's been through, these hardships he seems to have sought to challenge himself and push himself and go more and more and more. All men do this, but manifestors, above them all, have a tendency to self-parent, to self-father. Manifestors, they don't really have a significantly strong connection with the father usually, or the father is not very masculine in that connection. And so it is pretty much a certainty with Mr. Beast that his connection with his father is limited, if not non-existent. And so he probably unconsciously may not realize it, but he's been self-parenting for some time and probably gleaning unconscious energy from other men around him throughout his life, though it's going to help him profoundly no matter what to have acquired a significant sum of money, because provision's a part of the whole unconscious development of the archetypes. So yeah, and that's one note I wanted to go into. We're going to go here into another clip to describe more of his past with his mother and all that. So,
my mom raised me and my brother mostly on her own, and she spent a lot of money on us. I mean, she raised me for 18 years, and I just want to get back to her a little bit.
So you see that Mr. Beast is focused on his mother here. He's actually in previous videos had more of an interest in making sure that she's whole, and he's wanted to make sure he could provide for her and all these kinds of things. And so certainly his wish has come true. He's certainly able to do this now. And back then he even had that kind of money to give to her, which is an amazing thing. It's probably changed her entire life given her history of having to do a lot of work while being a single mother. And and to that note, he doesn't seem to have a great connection with his father. It seems like he was out. And so this is a classic sign of a manifestor. And so generally it all connects to one, that this is all of these things together make it almost, I'm absolutely certain he's more of a manifestor archetype. And so they tend to be more parent sympathetic dominant. But at the same time, too, you have to also think about the astrology and the life path numbers, and how they kind of interweave themselves into the archetype. So one example can be he is a Taurus. I believe he's born May 7th. And so Tauruses are more grounded and more certain of themselves a lot of the time. They're less prone to anxiety, less prone to character, not understanding who they are. Manifestors tend to have identity issues. They tend to be ungrounded. So, or have less self-assuredness, or tend to not be as stubborn and sure, kind of like hard-headed. And all of what that astrology sign is compared with him seem to like regulate that inner manifestor to like get him the discipline necessary to go forward and be stubborn about making sure he makes it with the YouTube channel. And in a lot of ways, it's actually really cool. It's quite a miracle in some ways, because for the most part, forgers are the ones who are extremely successful, because they're more self-assured. They're better at just taking command of life, because they have so much agency that they're not willing to let go of control to other people to do anything. They're going to go get it of their own merits. But you pair an earth sign like the Taurus with a manifestor, it can get a lot done. Another thing too is that he is a 3, 3, and 7 life path. The explanation of this is that he's essentially a doubled up communicator, and then in the end with the 7, more of a truth seeker. So the double 3 represents a kind of embodiment of a need to be heard and to be seen and understood. And this can be a very central driver to all of his, backing to becoming a YouTuber. It's very believable, and obviously we're seeing that now. He's essentially going to become a master communicator in a lot of ways. When you have 2 of one number like that, it really stacks up. Also, there's going to be a lot of like emotional attunement and kind of a need to express feeling through these numbers. And with that, he's going to be very good at making expression or creating content, fun things. That's what the 3 or communicator can be in a lot of ways, especially when he's a manifestor, because manifestors are also very, very creative. I wouldn't say the Taurus is just on its own naturally extremely creative, but it can be for sure. But you pair things like this with it, then obviously, right? But that Taurus acts like his groundedness, and then the double 3 is going to direct him toward a path of communication, and to be heard and to be understood and to create things and have emotion attached to it. And then you go into the 7, he's also too going to be more interested in the truth in a lot of ways. He doesn't want surface level insights. He wants like the real stuff. So he's that might be the reason why a lot of his content is very in the real world of things that are more raw, like being in a prison, or I don't know, being trapped in a cave somewhere, or trying to get out of some kind of escape someplace. All real world stuff, but also Tauruses are also like that. They're very grounded in reality. So anyway, that is Mr. Beast in a nutshell as far as I'm concerned and what I understand of him. Manifestors are just men who love to express and to at the same time be very empathetic, emotional, and they're very capable of nuance. They're very good at noticing details. The issues that they can have in relationships, though, is that they might unconsciously seek, some authority or some kind of a higher form of respect from their woman. And so it might be the reason why earlier in the video he said instantly that she was well educated. And that was the first thing that he said and the only thing that he said. And I found that fascinating, because manifestors will tend to, when they're dating a woman or marrying one, to focus on the accomplishments that they have in some ways, because it can represent the father that he's looking for. So anyway, subscribe if you're interested in these kinds of things, and I'll make more videos. Also, to comment some names that you'd like me to analyze, and I'll do that So anyway, I hope you guys all benefited. Thank you for coming, and